Hey everybody, welcome to yet another episode of Practicing My Way Back. It's been a good week. We have had no unexpected trips to the emergency room, so that was nice. That's all worked out. The thing I've done for myself this week is that I've actually reduced the amount of time I'm spending at the piano. As I mentioned last week, on a recommendation of the neurologist, I'm reducing my activity level to give myself and my body more time to heal. And that's advantageous for obvious reasons. You know, the body has to heal from these events, but it's also giving my creative subconscious more time to work. So basically what I did was I've gotten rid of the Mozart Sonata for the time being, and I'm just focusing on my fundamentals exercises. And this brings up an important point in learning. First, and some of you have heard me say this, learning is not a linear process necessarily. Learning is a very squiggly process. I won't draw it out for you, but we tend to think in terms of learning as being this straight line. Okay, I'm here, and I'm going to get here, and there's a certain amount of time that I'm going to work, and I'm going to be there. Well, that'd be nice, but that's not how it works. You know, a more accurate way, what some people have said, is it's more like climbing a flight of stairs. And the stairs, some of them are taller, some of them are longer, so it's kind of like this me. That's closer. My idea is learning more looks like that kind of thing, because there's all kinds of crazy twists and turns to it. Stuff that is unexpected, stuff that is surprising, and some of those turns that you take because you say, hey, well, I didn't see this before, let me go explore that. And this week for me is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. I had in my mind that I was going to do fundamentals, I was going to do scales, some improvising, it was Mozart Sonata, and I realized last week that process has got to be adapted. So I did that, and I've scaled things back, and I can now focus a little more on the fundamentals and take some of that pressure off. One of the things that we don't teach, and it blows my mind. I had one teacher kind of address this in school, but it's something that we don't make a regular part of our education, which is a real shame, and it has to change. And that is the idea of self-assessment. I was never told how to do that. As I said, I had one teacher who would sort of help me look at the progress that I made, but never really spelled out how that works. I have a really simple way to make that work, okay? And that's this thing that I keep pointing to, this journal. You write down what you did, what changes you made that day, how did you feel that day. This gives you a record that you can look back on and say, well, this seemed to work, this doesn't seem to work, maybe I can make these changes and see how that works. And then you document that, right? And slowly but surely, as you flip back through your book, you see your actual process, all right? And that is really, really important because when you're in the moment and you're playing, that's all a result, you know? But rather, when you're looking at this thing written out on this page, you're seeing the effort that you put in. So even after, your worst practice session ever or your worst lesson, you can look back and say, that was really upsetting. I didn't have a good session, but look at all this effort I'm putting in, This is leading somewhere. This is definitely leading somewhere. By the same token, when you have a really good session, you go, say, wow, that was great. Look at what all this effort led to. So it's important to document what you do. I mean, if you can keep it all in your melon, you're a better person than I am. I recommend writing stuff down because it's always great when you see it dictated and you see it down on paper. So look back and reflect on what you've done, because it will be your one of your best allies in this whole practice. I know it's helped me quite a bit. It's made it easier. I look back at like all these different things I've tried, it made it easier to make that decision. It's like, okay, well, we're going to put the Mozart off. We're going to just focus on these fundamentals, and it's worked out. And I can feel changes in my hands on a daily basis. Speaking of writing things down, the other thing I started doing this week, which may sound unrelated, but it isn't, is I started drawing. This came about out of a strange conversation with my occupational therapist. I had used the word apocryphal in one of our sessions, and she was like, "Oh, that's really funny. You should make a comic book with apocryphal as the title." I was like, "Haha, that's really funny." But as we were leaving the site, I said to my wife, "Let's go to Staples. I want to get a sketchbook and I want to start drawing." And I've done that. I got some pens. I have the sketchbook, and it's been a lot of fun. And it's been really great to do because it's good in the practical sense, focusing on my fine motor coordination. But it's also an expressive practice. It's a creative practice. And just because I'm a musician and I've spent the better part of my adult life trying to better myself as a musician doesn't mean I can't do this and also be good at it. And in fact, the real benefits that this is paying is because I haven't studied this, right? I haven't practiced this forever. I have no expectations for it. I'm not being held hostage by oh, well, I should be able to do this, or I should have to do it. It can be as crappy as it wants. It can be, this unbelievable, silly stuff in this book. But it's okay, you know? It's easier to give myself permission just to hack around in this and experiment and see what comes up. And I'm finding that some of that attitude is transferring over to my playing, which is really a healthy way, to approach it if you think about it. You know, don't care so much about the wrong stuff. You know, care about practicing and putting the effort in, but get rid of that should, get rid of that expectation. And that's what's going to lead you to greener pastures for sure. I mean, it's helped me. And having another creative outlet is great. I mean, it's not without precedent. Some of the greatest artists in the world also dabbled in music, and some of the greatest musicians in the world have also dabbled in arts. I mean, art is art. Expression is expression. And sometimes when you express it, when you express your creativity in another medium that isn't your primary, it pays benefits over your whole world. So maybe drawing is anything. Maybe it's sculpture. You know, maybe it's I don't know, making cupcakes. I like cupcakes. Try something. You may be surprised with what you find out. Anyway, that's what I have for you this week. Work hard, have fun. I'll see you next time.